to go to his funeral. They said that you were a bad influence. Doesn't matter that you made him laugh. Doesn't matter that he wrote you into his fucking suicide note. It wasn't a will. Doesn't count. All you got is the vodka you were saving for when he finally moved out of his parents' house. Memory of his laughter and his gravestone. The gray rock in front of you. Your thoughts swirl strangely in your head, stagnant and disconnected from yourself. Your body is somewhere beneath the water, floating like pond scum. Scared me a little bit. But this vodka is cheap shit. Was this brand always this bad? Remember it tasting better you drink it with him. At least it keeps you warm. How long have you been sitting here for? Long enough. The pain in your legs is any indication. Your hands hurt too from clutching something tightly enough to mold impressions in your palms. Pocket knife. He gave it to you years ago when you were still passionate enough to be afraid of the world and hurt it could do to the both of you. You only ever used it to open up packages before the blade dulled from tape and plastic and cardboard. Dull enough that you can run your fingers over the blade and not get cut. A strange soothing motion you make before pocketing it. You go to push off the ground to at least roll to your knees, even if you can't leave yet. Fingers come in the cold rush of grimy spring grass. And the sound stops you. What's that? Thunder? It's not supposed to rain today. You hear the sound again. Rumble of thunder. The crack of two rocks against each other. Except it's close. Too close. You look up. Something approaching, growing no withering towards you. When you squint to try and make sense of what you were seeing, your vision goes static, as though you're just about to faint. After a blink, the static clears. The gardener. But you can't say it. Can't hold them in your brain. The thing you do not talk about. The scream trapped in the back of your throat. The fear from his appearance fizzles away quickly. Your overwhelming numbness settles back in. You swallow as he reaches for your friend's grave, and your voice is husky when you manage to speak. You've got blood in your hands. It is the only part of the monster that you can see clearly, stark and sharp against the static of the rest of him. Except the blood looks old. It flicks off his hands like ashes. The gardener goes to touch the gravestone, and he lurches forward to push his hand away, throwing your whole weight against it. His skin is burning cold. Don't touch that. The gardener pulls his hand back, and his face creaks as he turns to you. He opens his mouth and you realize the thunder. The avalanche of sound from before was his voice. This gravestone is hateful to you, is it not? Well, I can't make my voice that deep, but I'll try to make it as deep as I guess I can. Your throat is tight. Yeah. You want the gravestone gone. You want it torn asunder, ground to rubble, but you don't want him to touch it either. You don't know why. He breathes hard, and you realize you're breathing harder. The gardener trails his gaze slowly from the gravestone to you. The scream in your throat loosens, and when you speak, it is loud and rough and wet. They buried him with the wrong clothes, and with the wrong name. They buried him a stranger. You remember the peek you got at the funeral through the fence from far away. Him in that horrible dress and ballet flats. literally every time they said the wrong name. The wrong name that's etched forever onto his gravestone. You're crying. The gardener lets you. But only for a moment. He puts his hand on your shoulder and you feel it. Tendrils that want to grow and grow out of you until you're nothing but plant food. It's just as strong and heaving. Blood flakes into your clothes. There's work to be done. What was he like? Oh, those kind. He was so kind. Took care of people. Well, me, my first chest binder, was always building people up. Didn't make it to every event, but was there when it mattered. Single moment you managed to get your head above the water and breathe. He was my friend, and I loved him. And they buried him a stranger. The numbness slams you over again like a wave as you watch the monster consider this. You feel the gardener squeeze, thumbs digging into your skin as he pulls you to your feet. They burn for hours of sitting motionless, and the flaming prickle flashes through your whole body. A sudden flare of rage that threatens to consume you. The gardener breathes in and out. On the exhale, you can taste his breath, rotten decay. Aftertaste of flowers and petrichor, I think, that coats the back of your throat. And where, little one, was the rage I smell on you now, earlier? There was a rage when your friend's box hit the dirt, when he spoke aloud to lie. Where was it? When they planted in this gloomy dirt, the rocks that bears the evil of an old dead name. You bristle. Like an asshole. You clench your fist again, harder, hoping your fingernails will leave an imprint in your skin. White crescents that you can look on and remember all the emotions of this moment. The rage rolls through you and you feel the gardener within you once more, the tendrils bloody and boiling under your skin. Well, your head bows, spins the shame of his gaze. The blood in his hands looks so dark as the dirt beneath your feet. The rage smothers out as quickly as it came. It's just, there was no point, was there? Remember this rage that knifed through you before the numbness set in. Some primal and violent, a nigger bigger than you. You want to bite and tear. This joy, you would take the dull knife and press it to her throat, and enact the same violence on his parents that they had enacted on him. But the great yawning void of helplessness had swallowed your rage, smothering you. It was the same as it always was. Logic, emotion, patience. Nothing ever changed the minds of those who hated. Your rage was an animal, and if harnessed, you could have put it to great use. But what was the point in the face of the overwhelming apathy of the universe, the sheer uncaring, helpless void of humanity? Shall I help you then? He releases you, and the spot where his fingers press edges with cold. And you do not answer right away. The gardener makes that sound again, rumble of stone from deep in his throat. This sends you wincing. You drew him here, and he would not leave unless you bid to him. Their voice is scratchy and low. Please help me. The gardener nods, just once, and something inside of you thrums. He walks towards the grave. This time you don't stop the gardener when he reaches red, caked hands to the gravestone. The flakes fall off, swirling like soup, as he brushes his fingers across the cursed rock, or the name etched there. He lifts the hand on its edge. It looks at you. It smiles with too many teeth. It all seems to happen all at once. The gravestone shattering to dust under the gray gardener's grip. The ground rolling, heave beneath your feet. Clumps of dirt raining down on you as the earth itself bubbles up, and the groaning of wood filling the air. Then all is still. You rub the dirt out of your eyes, blinking. You look, the gardener is kneeling in front of you, reaching down to do the thing you should have done from the very beginning, saving your friend. The gravestone is obliterated, and all that remains of the grave itself is a yawning hole in the ground surrounded by splinters of coffin wood. The guilt inside of you is quiet, and whisper, at least now, something is being done. There's another guilt there, though, layered underneath. One beaten into the fabric of your morals from life and polite society. It is a sin to disturb the dead. It isn't actually grave robbing. You justify it to yourself. After all, the grave would have belonged to your friend for it to be robbery. The name there was not his. Held in the arms of the gardener, your friend is tucked away, face concealed, but grateful. Hidden, you can't see the condemnation that might be looking back. Somewhere on the surface of your mind, you know he would never hate you. You know that you couldn't save him on your own, but underwater, drowning, you can only breathe in guilt and shame. Come. And then, without another word, he unfolds himself, taken to the forest nearby with long strides. You stumble when you try to follow. By the time you pick yourself up off the grass, the gardener is a dozen feet ahead of you, his broad back bent as he cradles your friend. All you can see of your friend is his legs, or the two long arms of the monster, and the hem of that dress his parents stuffed him in, the ballet flats on his feet threatening to fall off. Too small for him, even they must have known he didn't want them. The trees of the forest look ready to swallow the two of them, and you nearly slide on the wet grass as you rush to catch up. You won't let your friend down again. Won't let him be taken from your sight by someone else. The anger swells up in you again, blazing from a spark that you didn't realize was still smoldering. You try to call out to the gardener, your voice is low. Hey. The gardener doesn't acknowledge you, striding firm and purposeful through the trees. You try to think as you walk beside him. The moment the scream trapped in your throat is silent. Where do you come from? Why help you? How do you know him? Places where the gardener steps leaves little graves, tiny ecosystems, dents of mud and sod that are yet warm when you step in them. The footprints rot and bloom in rapid succession when you step in one, following him exactly. They match yours. The gardener, so tall, with arms too long and hands covered in blood, bent over your friend, has the same boot size as you. Oh. For you are he, and he is you, this monster you have summoned with your rage and grief. But you don't have time for that realization. Because you arrived at a clearing between the forest and the sea. There's no tree there, collapsed on its side. So wet with rot you can feel it in the air. You can almost pull the moss and mold deep into your lungs, allowing it to grow there. The gardener lays your friend down on the flattest section of the tree, spot where soft green shoots are just beginning their life. The silence falls heavy again, like it did at the graveyard. The overwhelming helplessness that threatens to creep back in and smother the soft flame of your rage. A sudden push against your back by the gardener, like a draft of cold air, stumbles you forward, and it's all the fire inside of you needs. It will burn away that damnable dress. It will erase all traces of the pain your friend's family inflicted on him, even in death. You can't bury him like this. The gardener chuckles. In what way would you bury him then? Hockey jersey. With hockey jersey, you always made fun of him for picking the most loser team in the league. He'd remind you with a chuckle that we were losers too. He played on the weekends with some guys who didn't know who he was. One of those beer league teams where the jersey you wore never really mattered after all. Your face is wet and you don't remember when you started crying. Can you see it? You can. You imagine burning the dress. You imagine tearing it to shreds with your own 2 hands, drinking the vodka with him and laughing. Laughing. It chokes your throat, makes your eyes flow with tears. And in the blink, the gardener grants you the gift of that vision. The dress burns up, leaving your friend clothed in his attire of choice, and you watch the ashes rise away. You know what to do next without any prompting. Take his hand. You take your friend's hand, push back his hair, and lay your foreheads together. He is cold against you, cold and gone. There's nothing of him, just an empty body. When it is finished, when your sniffling stops and your hands are shaking with all your grief, the gardener pulls you back to reality. He stands before you again, bottling with violence, the old blood on his hands bright and fresh, and new as red as the sunrise. With a heavy thump, a pain echoes through your whole body, and he thrusts a shovel into your hands. With a monstrous gruffness, he demands, dig. Okay. This is your punishment. Your penitence. The ground underneath you is hard, only lightly damp, not the soft spring wet of the graveyard. I mean, our 3 options are to dig, so I assume we just dig. First stroke of the shovel into the ground is awful. The point clanging against the packed dirt. Painful ripple through rolling up your arms and back. You press the shovel in again, using all your weight, and slowly, inch by painful inch, cut through the ground. The sliver of dirt you pull up hardly matches the amount of effort you put in. You look up, the gardener glares back, and you know with gut-deep certainty you cannot leave until you are done. You chose this. You must dig. You cut into the ground again and again and again, until your back is soaked with sweat and your arms are practically numb. They feel longer. Too long. Your friend waits on the tree, and you dig for him. You try to stop and take a moment break, the world rolls, and you grow dizzy, until you press the shovel into the dirt again. The wind roars. The gardener howls. This was the second option of dig. You dig until your back burns, till your hands are blistering. You have blood in your hands, just as the monster did. Every time you try to stop, the dizziness comes back, worse and worse each time, until your shovel is back in the ground. The rage is back in your gut, resounding through your limbs with every backswing of your shovel. You swear you hear your friend laughing madly at you, gleeful at your punishment. When you look up, back bent over your shovel, the hole down to your thighs, you catch the gaze of the gardener, watchful and present. The gardener growls, roaring like thunder, jolting you back to digging. Okay, with the last one. You dig 6 feet deep, until time has lost any meaning, till blood is pounding in your ears and salty sweat stings your eyes and bloody hands. And yet, still you dig. Your skin feels too tight. There is static in your mind, coursing into your body. You feel your edges become static. You dig and dig and dig. The gardener is screaming, and screaming your own throat finally escapes, and your shovel pierces the dirt over and over and over. Dig, dig, dig. It sounds like a song, a rhythm, a dirge to your rage, your dead friend, and all the hopelessness and injustice in the world. Dig, dig, dig. The gardener screams, and you scream, until the world goes dark. When you wake again, you're on your back, staring up the sky. And when you sit up, your friend is buried again, soil fresh in their new grave. In this clearing near the forest, a tree just beginning to sprout there. Something in the world writes. Oh, I understand now. And it's like you can breathe again for the first time in days. Like you come up from under the water, and your thoughts are your own. The scream in your throat is gone, resting with your friend. I hope you're at peace now, properly. Please rest, my dear friend. You look around, the monster of your nightmares. There are footprints leading away from you, little dents in the grass, newly dead and yet newly blooming, leading toward the forest edge, where trees drop away to sea. Look below to the rocky shore. All that's left of the gardener is the side of his back, retreating into the wine dark sea. Oh, that was nice. It was very nice. Alright, well, those are the credits. And, yeah. So that was The Gardener. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, the visual novel. Of course, if you did, despite, I guess, it being more on the darker side versus the one we usually play. Still, hopefully y'all enjoyed the, experience and, the reading. Of course, if you did, don't hesitate to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If not, that's totally fine. And yeah, if you want to play this game for yourself, of course, everything for this game will be in the description below. And with that being said, hope y'all had a good day yesterday, a better tomorrow, and I will catch y'all in the next video.